So this is 5 running backs I'm starting this week, going into week 9. And the first guy I'm starting is Chase Edmonds of the Arizona Cardinals. This guy, if he's going to get a major role, which he is this week, and hopefully the next few weeks for you Edmond owners, but Drake might come back early. But anyway, this week Edmonds has a good matchup versus the Miami Dolphins. I think Edmonds, he's going to go off and he could be a top 10 performer at the running back position this week. He's a good receiver out of the backfield. Teams are not going to be that focused in on Edmonds when you got a DeAndre Hopkins and Christian Kirk and Murray's running ability out there. So Edmonds, I could see him easily get 25 to 30 fantasy points this week. So he's a plus start. And Edmonds, yeah, go out there and start him. And if you were lucky enough to have him, good for you. The second guy I'm going out there and starting this week is Antonio Gibson of the Washington football team. I like a lot of these Washington guys this week going into the matchup with the Giants. And Gibson, he's been a pretty solid fantasy running back, a nice number 2 running back to flex option each and every week for you. And in the last game we saw him, he went off with 128 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Just the only thing with Gibson, I don't like he's not getting many receptions or even targets out of the backfield in that Washington team. J.D. McKissick's been taking on those snaps and that role of that third down quarterback. But this game's going to be close. It's going to be a battle in the trenches a little for Washington. I know they don't want Kyle Allen to go out there and throw the ball 30, 35 times plus. So yeah, Antonio Gibson, he's going to be a great start, and I expect him to get anywhere from 15 to 20 points in this ball game. The third starter, David Johnson of the Houston Texans. He's got a plus matchup versus the Jacksonville Jaguars is Johnson. He's been a nice solid number 2 to flex running back all season long, putting you up 12 to 14 points, it seems like, each and every week. Johnson, he's not the Johnson of a few years ago where he was a first-round pick in all of the first pick, I should say, in all fantasy leagues. But he's not a bad guy to have at your number 2 running back, especially the way we've seen this position go and a lot of struggles Owen has had. So David Johnson versus Jacksonville, they give up the 4th most fantasy points to running backs. So Johnson, he's a good start this week, and he could give you a great game. The 4th guy I'm starting at running backs, Justin Jackson, coming off a big game last week for the Chargers, was Jackson versus the Denver Broncos, who's a pretty solid run D. Jackson had 142 yards from scrimmage, and this week he's got an even better matchup versus the Vegas Raiders in a ball game that I see to be a shootout. I know he's got timeshare in that backfield is Jackson with Pope and Kelly, but I don't care about it. Pope, he got banged up at the end of that ball game versus the Denver Broncos, and Kelly, he's just not effective anymore. Jackson's getting all the receiving work anyway, it seems like, out of the backfield. Herbert trusts him. He's had double-digit fantasy points in his last few weeks is Jackson. So he's a guy I'm going to go out there and I'm going to keep starting him each and every week until Austin Eckler comes back, because in PPR leagues, this guy's lowest game is going to be 10 points, and that's pretty solid for a number 2 to flex running back. And the 5th and final guy I'm starting at running back is J.K. Dobbins. This guy been waiting on him all season to break out, and he took advantage of his opportunity, going over 100 yards on the ground that was last week with the Ravens versus a tough Steeler defense. So Dobbins, he was in there because of Ingram. Him and Edwards split, but like I said, that backfield, you're getting 35, 40 chances a game between Jackson and whatever 2 running backs play. But Dobbins, he's a great athlete, high-ranked prospect. He was a 2nd-round pick of the Ravens this year. And this guy, he shouldn't be sitting on the bench anymore for the Ravens. He fits the offense like a glove. He works perfect on that spacing running game with those quick tosses or pitches, or even the read option Jackson can run with Dobbins. Ingram's time is up. He was on my drop list this week, Mark Ingram, because I think the gas ain't there anymore for Ingram. So J.K. Dobbins, you go out there and play him, and he could get you a nice 9 to 15 points, even in a limited role. We've seen him have some big rush yards per carry. So that's 5 running backs I'm looking to start this week in week 9.